There from Bugeye guys. Today I just want to do a short video about some of these features that are so critical to getting your pre-paint set up just right for your restoration. So today we're going to talk a little bit about beading. And the beading on these cars is often messed up and damaged from prior restorations. Let's see if we can get you in here. This one comes down and terminates right at the back edge. And a lot of times these get ground off or rust away, but in this case, this has been done right, and I thought we would share this so you could see. Then here it terminates with a straight edge, and that usually is pretty much underneath the rubber cup that goes in here. I'll show you that on another car. And then here we have this piece. A lot of times people will terminate the beading here. This is a raised area, so you see how it wraps around and also terminates underneath the park light rubber cup. Running up the edge here, you see pretty straightforward until you reach this terminus where it's a right angle flush with the back edge of the nose. And then here you have a similar initiation where it's flush with this edge of the cockpit, and it is cut at an angle to match this profile. And then it runs down the back here, terminates here, similar to the front park lights where it's underneath the rubber gasket for the taillight base. And I'll show you that on a finished car in a minute. And here we have this section, which is often missing, and it connects between the park light and the brake light. So that piece is critical. And that also terminates right about flush with or just under the rubber of the taillight base and the rubber for the park light. And then here's one more critical piece that comes right down underneath the park light and terminates just about flush with the back edge of the car. So that's correct application of beading, often missing, often not correct on these cars. There's another thing that's worth a quick look at. These grooves are also factory. So the rocker panel and the quarter panel joined at this point. Often this is filled in, but you want that to be continuous along the rocker like so. And then there's a similar seam right here where the A-pillar meets the rocker panel, and that's another commonly flawed area. And then there's one more key thing to catch if you can before you go to paint. And that's that on the top of this rocker panel, on many of the replacement panels, there's actually a slit here, and you want that to be welded shut. And this is a little bit of filler that will get ground down and sanded down, before final paint is applied. Up on the nose, there's also two grooves here that should be in place where this lower chin section was attached to the nose, so you always had a seam here, and this groove should be nice and uniform. So if we go over onto this car, a car called Soleil here in our shop at the moment, you can see, let's get you there. This is the termination of this rear beading with the rubber gasket. Let's see if you can see that. So the gasket is pretty well covering the seam. And then over here, you also have, it's underlaying the taillight gasket. You have the park light rubber here kind of covering the termination, and similarly here. And then it dead ends, as I said earlier. And then as we run down the beading here, you see that angled terminus where the cockpit trim meets, so it's curved or angled. And then you can see the origination here parallel to the edge. We'll go around the lift and look at the other side. Here's the termination here. And here also, mostly under the rubber. And hopefully you can kind of see that there as well. And then some good grooves here are cut. And also down here, You have this other groove that I mentioned earlier. So, and here is that also critical, let's angle down here. This is how the factory did it, with a closed section. So if you have a slot right here, that should be sealed and filled while you do your restoration. And that's what we're up to here this week at Bugeye, guys. If you'd like to send your car our way, we're building cars here all the time. Delighted to help you. Thanks for watching today.